Hello and welcome to another episode of Diet Culture Can Fork Off. I am Becky and I help women over 30 stuck in diet cycles. It's all about creating that food freedom, leaving diet culture behind basically. I want you to feel confident in your body and, that's not without focusing on the scales or numbers or missing out on actually living your life, because otherwise, what is the point? And that is all through my one-to-one Empower coaching or my Misfit Club group coaching as well. Today, I really want to talk about time, because usually what it comes down to is that it's not a time problem, it is a priority problem. And I'm not dismissing people's busy lives out there, because I know you have incredibly busy lives. But there is a misconception that we don't have any time to look after ourselves, when actually that should be a priority. Because I want to talk about how this can be a belief that we have as well, because it's definitely something that I have said before, like telling myself, I don't have time to do that, I don't have time to do this. But actually, when you repeat those things, it becomes a belief. It becomes a belief that can be holding you back. And that's something I've had to, sometimes it is like holding a mirror up to yourself and you're like, actually, maybe I need to take ownership over that I do say that. And actually, maybe it's not true. Because if you've been listening and following me for a while, you know that I talk about limiting beliefs. And those are beliefs that we tell ourselves, that then we start looking for the evidence to support that belief. So if you're telling yourself that you don't have enough time, what you can then do is create the evidence to support that you don't have time. So making yourself busy over things that, can wait, or procrastinating, doom scrolling, things that literally take time from you, take time and energy. And that's really important to remember. It's like, okay, well, what am I actually spending my time on right now? And like I said, I'm not dismissing that you do have responsibilities and that there are busy times. But how much of that time are you spending binge watching episodes on TV? How much of that time are you spending doom scrolling? How much of that time are you spending doing unnecessary tasks that aren't actually getting you anywhere? And that's the realization. And I'm like, again, I say, like, sometimes we want to watch a bit of, I like watching a bit of crap TV sometimes, or, sometimes doom scrolling a little bit. But actually, when it starts to eat into me looking after my health and well-being, then there's a problem. Okay, so this is where it comes down to. And they're also we need to remember that time is finite. We don't have an unlimited resource of time, and that makes it so valuable. Think about it. Think how quick the weeks go, how quickly the years go. Think about, when did you promise yourself that you would wait for things to calm down? That's when I'm going to start working on myself. That's when I'm going to start, I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to look after my health. How long has it been since you've been telling yourself that? Because time does go. And before you know it, it's, you're so many years older and it gets harder. The longer you wait, it does get harder. And I think there's obviously this misconception that you need everything in place and you need to be perfect before you start. You need things to be calm. You need things, but that's not how life works. Think about it. As an adult, when was the last time you weren't busy? When was it calm? It's not. It never is. So you need to be able to learn how to look after yourself in the chaos, in the mess. It doesn't mean about being perfect. And this is exactly what I teach my clients. You need to let go of that perfectionism. That's why I create flexible routines that you can do when you have an incredibly busy week, when life's a bit messy. What do you focus on? The anchor points, my grounding points. This is all why it comes into play. Because if time is limited, why are you spending it waiting to feel ready? And that is the biggest thing, because it won't come. You will never feel ready. That is the point. You will never feel ready to start. But the longer you wait, the harder it gets. If you're waiting, oh yeah, when it feels busy, when I have motivation. Like, no, motivation again is another finite resource. We can't rely on that. Waiting to feel confidence. Confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from starting. It comes from doing something. I'm going to give you an example of this as well, because I had a career change. As you know, I became a PT at 37. And of course, having a career change, people go, oh, it's too late. And this is exactly what I hear in my DMs when it comes to health and fitness. It's too late. Like, oh, I've left it too long. I didn't think that. I thought I was unhappy in the job I was in. I loved it for so many years. I loved working in fashion for so many years, but it got to a point where I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I wanted a career change. And it, after being on my own journey, and I actually was kind of coaching people at work for like doing the work that I was doing. I was training people through like how to do certain things in the job role, if that makes sense. So I was like, had this element of coaching, and I realised I actually loved helping people. And I'd also been on my own journey, big journey with health and fitness. So I decided this is why. It's a bit, you just have that moment, you're like, oh, it feels like it's all clicking into place. And everything it did click into place for me. However, I could have said to myself, oh, do you know what? Too late. I'll just continue on down the path that I'm on. Or I'll wait till things calm down a bit, till I study, or I won't take on like the course and stuff until, if I had done that, I could have been still waiting now. And I'm like coming up to 42 now. So I took that chance and I studied, and it was hard, but I loved it. I learned so much. But imagine if I'd waited. If I'd waited till everything felt perfect, till everything felt like it calmed down, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't be doing what I love to do, which is helping other women feel confident and free from like diet culture. And that scares me. That scares me to think that if I'd waited, that, I would be still, God knows what I'd be doing, still stuck, still in a job that I didn't really love. And that's how you need to think about your health and fitness. It is never too late to start. That is the biggest thing. I'd say never too late to change careers either. Think about how many years you've got left on this planet, How do you want to spend that? Do you want to spend it miserable, hating your body, guilty over food for the next 40 years, 50 years? Or do you want to actually take back control and work on that now and be, a great example for other women in your life as well, or the girls in your life? So I want to talk about as well, because there is this at the moment, I know energy's probably low, time's low, but think about how much of that is because you're spent overthinking every food choice, thinking about food 24/7, spiraling on the weekends, going from cycle to cycle, diet to diet, trying different exercises, thinking, if this worked for me. Think about actually how much time and energy that is taking from you right now. That mental load is absolutely draining. So when you start working on your health and fitness, it is not about adding more to your plate. It's about removing that chaos that is stealing your energy right now. And I know how much it does drain you, because I have absolutely been in that position. And it took up majority of my energy and time every single day. So when I know a lot of people say to me oh, but coaching, I don't have the time for it, or it doesn't take time. Yes, there are bits for you to do. There are some modules to watch and things like that, especially with my coaching. However, it gives you back time, especially in the long run, because that mental load drops. And I was actually just going through one of my client testimonials just now, and one of the things she said was that she's gained time and energy back from doing this coaching. And she had an incredibly busy job, very demanding job. And the reason why is because we worked on people pleasing and setting boundaries, and how to navigate busy weeks, and how her schedule can be flexible around that. She was suffering from a lot of food noise. We reduced that down, so she wasn't overthinking things, and that is the impact. She's left with more time and more energy for herself, with a good routine, and she's so much more relaxed and happier. Like our last phone call, it was like a different person. So I think there's a reframe around here. It's like, it's not about doing more, because that's not the way this coaching works. It's not pushing through, doing more. It's about creating more space and more energy for yourself. It's about creating a better life for you, not by adding more on your plate. So the next thing, like, this comes up. So, like, I would say the majority of women I speak to, or ones that are interested in coaching, they say, I'll start when life comes down. And sometimes I never hear from them again. And I want to just really say that there will always be something. Like I said, we have very busy lives now, that we have a lot of responsibilities now. I think there's more pressure on us now than there ever has been. There's work stress, there's family commitments, there's holidays, coming, like, if you're perimenopausal, menopausal, we have that going on as well, which can cause obviously anxiety and emotional issues on that side. There's always chaos. So waiting for calm is like waiting for the waves to stop before you swim. And how often does that happen? So this building strength in the chaos is absolutely how you make your life easier. And it seems weird to say that, because it's where the real confidence comes in. That's how you form the confidence. I had another client that worked with me. She actually, there's two that one is on the past podcast. Tatiana mentioned this as well. She joined in her busiest time. I had another client as well that decided to join in her busiest time. Both of them had a lot on their plates, but the reason that they did it in their busiest time is like, if I can do it now, I can do it whenever. And both of them absolutely thrived, because we went for a lot of challenges, and actually how those challenges were coming up as mental blockers quite a lot in their lives previously before coaching. So, my biggest thing is that anchor points and flexible routines, and both of those, that's what happened, and helped them a lot. This flexibility, like, I talk about it a lot, but so many people, and I used to think as well, had to have these rigid routines and things had to look exactly the same every week, but it's not the case. Creating a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, like, I cannot stress how much that makes a difference, because consistency is what's important. And consistency doesn't mean doing the exact thing every single week if you don't have the time and you don't have the energy. But consistency stops the cycles. It stops the all or nothing approach. It stops being in this yo-yo where a lot of my clients were before starting me. Start something for a few months or a few weeks. Life happens, gives up, does nothing for a few weeks, few months, then start again. This is what stops. And that's when, like I said, your energy comes back, you have more time, because you're not in this constant back and forth and pulling, like toing and throwing. That is what really can, this is about sustainability and longevity. That's what I always talk about. This is not about being stuck in cycles ever again. So that's why I create this way of working, anchor points, flexible routines, like things, your mindset around changing your thoughts or patterns behind what consistency looks like, what the perfectionist that can be holding you back, that all or nothing mindset that's holding you back. I always say, and I'll say it again, you can't out diet a poor relationship with food, and you can't out exercise a poor relationship with exercise. So you need, or a poor relationship with your body, you need to be able to work on the mindset stuff. And I cannot get through how important that is. But not bullshit mindset stuff like, oh, here's my little 10-step morning routine. Like, no, this is like deep rooted work, emotional eating, limiting beliefs, why you self-sabotage, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm going off track. I always do. I just get too excited about talking about this stuff. But anyway, There's also a sense of people feeling like they need to be perfect before they start. Like, I need to just be more disciplined before first, or I just need to be more motivated before I start. So, I just need to sort myself out a little bit before I get started. I just need to get this. And it's like, you don't start when you're perfect. You start because you're not. Because if you're waiting to be perfect, we're not perfect humans. Things aren't perfect. So again, this is another thing that can be holding you back right now. You absolutely don't start like when you're perfect. Like, I didn't start when I was perfect as a PT. I worked hard, I learnt, I grew, I took on board information. If I waited to, I knew everything. And I know there are people that do this with jobs and stuff as well. I think, oh, I just need to do this. I just need to get this qualification, or I just need to do this. It's the same with my Instagram, everything. I just put stuff out. It's not perfect half the time. I'm like, doesn't matter. It's out there. It's helping people. Like, we don't have to be perfect. We just need to take those steps. Like, if I was waiting to be perfect, I wouldn't do half the stuff, like more than half the stuff that I do. So it's the same with your health and fitness. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's the same actually when if I've tried new exercises or new exercise routines, it's not perfect when I first do it. It's not meant to be, but the more you do it, the better you get. But if you have someone to actually guide you, someone to, when things aren't perfect, you have someone there supporting you, it can help with like reducing that decision fatigue. It gives you structure. You have someone to bounce ideas off of. It stops you wasting months and months of second guessing yourself, doubting yourself, and questioning everything you do. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Because you've got someone there, like, to help, which then protects your energy. And this all saves time. So when, again, they're saying like, yeah, I don't have time to start, all of this that you're struggling with right now, with someone there in your corner, will actually help you save the time. I was going to say something else here. I've totally forgotten it. It's just gone out of my head. But yeah, there's this, like, I think this as well, when you self-doubt, you're back for, this is enough things, like, tell yourself, like, I should be able to do it on my own. Like, but why? And this is what I was going to say, actually, is I have my own support in the background. I have, like, groups of coaches that I'm in, things that if I want to go through stuff, like, oh, what do you guys think about this? Or, we bounce ideas off of each other, because it's great having that support. Trying to do things on your own is fucking hard sometimes, and having a community and a group behind you can be, so beneficial. And I'm in those groups, and I invest in myself to help develop my own skills. And I've always invested in myself to do that, because I believe in growing as a human, but also, like, I love being part of those communities. It gives me something. It gives me, like I said, I don't feel like I'm on my own. Because, if you're like me, work at home, and I'm self-employed, obviously, I don't see many people. Obviously, I would talk to my wonderful clients, and I talk to a lot of you on social media. But, when it comes to, like, maybe my own health and fitness, or, my business, it's good to have other people in my corner as well. But this other thing that I did touch on just now about, like, that you're too old, it's too late, I've left it too late, I might as well just give up. That's just how I am now, I won't change. These are all beliefs that can be holding you back, because you can change, absolutely can. And you telling yourself you can't is actually what's keeping you stuck, because you're reaffirming that belief. You're telling yourself, I can't do it, so what's the point? So you don't even try. I know that might be a bit harsh, but it's true. I became a coach at 37. I've built in power probably in the last couple of years, since I was 40, which is where I had, like, the big, it's probably just before my 40th, where I, established exactly what I wanted and exactly how I wanted to help people. I did that at 40. I've helped hundreds of women now, and I am living proof that there's no expiry date on becoming confident as well. With each year, I get more confident. to the point that I'll be standing up in front of a group of other coaches soon and speaking, which I've never done before. And I'm not the biggest fan of public speaking. I know I do these podcasts and stuff, but it's different. It's like, it's very different sat here recording this or doing the webinars or doing anything else I do than sitting in a room with people all staring at you. I'm sure some of you out there can give me some tips. But this is me constantly putting myself out of my comfort zone, growing as a person, because I have a goal, I have a dream, I want to help as many women as possible. I want to talk about how diet culture impacts women and men as well. Actually, we should say that it shouldn't exclude. But just so many people are affected by diet culture, and it is my goal to be able to speak about this and use my platform to call out the bullshit that we have lived through, but also to help other coaches understand how it may differ, like coaching someone that has gone through that, why they have a poor relationship with food, why they find it difficult to write a food diary and expose that, why they find it difficult to take before and after pictures, why they don't want to step on the scales, why they don't want to be obsessed by numbers. Because as you know, if you've had coaching before, a lot of coaches out there do expect those kind of things. So one of my goals is to be able to show people that there is a different way, because it's exactly the way I coach and I get incredible results. I'm going to blow my own trumpet on that because I fucking do. You have to look at my testimonials. So the refrain here is, it's not too late. It's only late if you keep waiting. So what is it costing you? Okay. What is it costing you to stay where you are right now? And I don't mean money. I mean, the emotional impact, the health impact, the mental load. Like, if you stay where you are right now, are you going to have another summer of hiding, comparing yourself, stressing over food, another year of hating photos, of hiding under clothes that you don't feel confident in, that aren't really expressing your true personality? How many more weekends of pressing the fuck it button, and then waking up with that guilt spiral on a Monday? How much emotion and mental load is that costing you? Because time will pass anyway. We have no control over it. It is passing. So the question is, will you still be in the same place when it does? So that is, I know that was quite a... hopefully you found that really helpful, because this is that I feel like there's obviously got a bit of there is a fear when we start anything like this, and that's okay, because if you don't have fear, then it means you're not moving, you're not trying, you're staying in your comfort zone, staying in that familiar zone. And it's okay to be scared. And I say to a lot of my clients, like I think a lot of them we've seen in the past podcast, the one before this, the episode, that they talked about they were scared when they started. Like, is this the right thing? Am I going to be okay? And that's okay, especially if you're someone that's tried a lot of diets and or a lot of plans before, or coaches or PTs before. Of course, it's totally fine. It's totally valid to be scared. That's why I try to make put everyone at ease straight away, which you obviously heard in the podcast, because I've been there, I have been there. And I know how worried and scared and feel sick to the stomach I felt when embarking on something new, something that could mean, this could change my life. But that's exciting as well. So you don't need more hours in the day. You just need more clarity. You need some structure. You need someone in your corner. You need someone to help you, like, break down exactly what is priority and what is not. What are the things that you can forget about? What are the things you need to focus on? Just take that pressure off. Because at the moment, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You're putting so much pressure on yourself, beating yourself up about the way you look, about the food you eat, And, the mental load of that is exhausting. So you don't need more time. You just need to stop postponing your life. All right, so I hope that's helped. A little pep talk, if anything. So you have to let me know. Let me know in the comments or message me after you listen to this podcast. And if you are enjoying these podcasts, please, it means a lot to me if you can go and give me some ratings, some stars. What is, I don't know what it's called, like a review, whatever it may be. And if you are interested in taking those next steps and you are like, right, I'm ready for support and I'm ready to stop putting myself last, then the link below in the show notes will take you to my website and you can apply for coaching there. But any questions, feel free to reach out. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, whatever you're doing, and I'll speak to you very soon.